Okay, guys, today's guest is someone who's not only coached a lot of Bollywood stars, but he's also been my coach way back in the day. So while he was at Acro Fitness back in 2017, he actually got me beach ready for the very first time when I was going to Greece for a holiday. And that was literally, I think, my first breakthrough into realizing that, I can also sort of do it. And anyone who knows me knows how my body is, knows how difficult it is for me to sort of break through, knows that it wasn't a small task. So thanks, Tejas, for that. Now, as I mentioned, he was with Acro Fitness, where I honestly firsthand saw the amount of fire, focus, and work ethic that truly defines his journey and what has brought him from what could be termed as a small town compared to a Mumbai in India, right? To a Mumbai and just reaching the heights of his career, right? So he is now based in Mumbai, happily married, really doing really, really well. And he hails from this city called Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, right? You guys have all seen the new movie called Chhaava. And his story himself, like Tejas' story himself, I would say is nothing short of cinematic, right? So while he was studying engineering, he always dreamt of meeting his idol, his Greek god, somebody that he revered for his looks, his passion for fitness, which is basically Hrithik Roshan. But instead of how millions of people wait for a fan moment, maybe go and stand outside their house and stuff like that, they just said, "What if I become like his trainer at some point?" Right? And that is, I think, that one thought that somewhere probably flipped the switch for him, and he decided to move to Mumbai and figure out doing something about it. Now, when we started Acro Fitness, and Mustafa and I started Acro Fitness in 2016, um, I didn't know this, but they just told me that he sent over 200 people to us for interviews before he finally
Yeah,
applied for the job itself, right? Because at that point of time, you didn't have a formal certification, right? But somewhere there was I would say, an unstoppable hunger to learn, and he really showed up when it came for the interview. It really shone through everything, and we said, okay, I think we need to get this guy on board. And that was his first coaching gig, his first coaching role. And every paycheck after that went back into his education. He eventually got certified. He did his ACS. And 8 years later, he's now not just a coach, but I think he's now known in the industry, has done multiple podcasts, and is most recognizable known for getting Vicky Kaushal absolutely jacked and really looking like one of those magnificent kings from our India's and Maharashtra's history, right? Amongst other people, he's trained, amongst obviously Vicky Kaushal that I mentioned, he's trained John Abraham, Vicky's younger brother, Sunny Kaushal, Rohit Saraf, Nandish Sandhu, Arjun Kapoor, even producers like Dinesh Vijan, and even their director called Shivan Grover, right? But I think his most fierce transformation, and the one I will probably talk a little bit more about today, would be Vicky Kaushal from Chhaava, right? So yeah, I mean, what's his style like? So I've known him now for about 8 years. We worked together closely for 4 out of that.
yeah.
And Tejas basically style is keeping it simple. Like everything is dialed in. I learned firsthand from him how small steps done consistently, extremely boring stuff for many, but done consistently over time will result in really good results over time, right? Great transformations, mine included. Resistance training, bodybuilding are obviously his bread and butter, but he'll also weave in very important things that we sort of miss out, like mobility, flexibility, agility, to create, I would say, fully rounded programs, right? He also does a lot of online coaching, for which he allows him to sort of reach more people, impact a lot more people, not just in India but overseas around the globe, right? Because obviously good training knows no borders. I think if there's one thing that sort of Tejas prides himself on, like besides transforming bodies, it's about, and I would attest to that, is his punctuality. Always on point, always present, always on the ball, and ready before the client, right? I mean, very important. So I think that's one thing I'll give you. Let's get into your journey. How did you move from small town dreams to big time results, just becoming a well known coach? Coach Tejas, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's still very difficult for me to just call you by the name and not address you by saying Ketan sir. I never dreamt of living this life, or didn't even like think that I want to become a celebrity coach or something. My only dream was to get out of my town and meet Hrithik Roshan once, which struck an idea in my head that what if I become a coach of his, I'll be able to meet him daily. It's not about being a celebrity coach, but it was just about meeting him on a daily basis. That was my actual goal. But as I moved to Mumbai, as my own passion towards my own fitness started increasing, when I was working in this company called Body Power, I did see a advertisement on Facebook saying Acro is looking for a coach, and I used to at that time handle a team of ambassadors who used to promote the show of body power. So I shared that on the groups so that if any aspiring trainer would want to join the team at Acro, it's a good spot to join in. And I remember I absconded that job because I was getting overweight. I had become 93 kilos and full fat and everything. And then after a week of this thing, I went back to that post again. And I remember messaging Mustafa asking, like, is this spot still available? And he thought I was staying in Bangalore at that time. And after a few conversation, he said, like, jump in for an interview. And I did come for the interview. I had no clue. I had no scientific and technical knowledge about trainings. I only know that I can train myself and I can be there when it's needed for someone. And then the interview happened. He asked me why did I leave the job, and I believe you both just try to see what kind of a person I am more than how much I know about trainings and everything. And I got the job and I requested if I can join after a few days with a family holiday. I remember my first day on the floor, not looking the part, but still being there on the floor. It was quite fun. It was quite fun. And then learning never stopped for me. I'm still learning. I still enjoy learning. I still enjoy listening to things that you post, you write, a lot of other coaches who write. It still helps me to grow as a coach, as a person, and it's just going on.
Nice. I remember that you had taken a photo in one of the mirrors where you stood up and said day one or something like that, the first day. And I remember that I think you used to repost it every year saying this anniversary and this is the day I actually started this career. So yeah, throwback to the good days, right? So now we go back a long time, right? And Acro was where you actually really started. What was that journey that took you? So what do you think about the early days? What were the values you held dear? What were the principles you said this is the best practices, right, or the best SOPs I need to follow to be a good coach in my own mind? What were those?
So because I never had a certification, never go or I never went to the place with an expectation of a certain amount of salary or a certain criteria of clients that I would want to train. I was just going every single day to Acro. I was being there. I was watching other coaches training their clients, and I was just learning and adapting. And because I never went with an expectation, I never came back home with disappointments on my shoulders ever. What I see now is anyone who gets certified wants to start a job with a very high paying salary, does not want to give a lot of time on the floor just to learn. So the best SOPs I would say is you're certified, you're not certified, spend at least a year on a floor as a general trainer, learn the most basic things starting from observing, assessment, spotting, even re-racking plates back to their own places. If you learn all of these basic and the smallest ethics and etiquettes of a coach in the gym, then onwards your journey is just going to fly high. So for me, these have been the most basic things which still help me a lot, a lot.
I think so. What you're trying to say is that you have to do the grind before wanting this thing. You have to sow the seeds before you reap the results, right? Basically, that's what you're trying to tell people, saying that listen, put your time on the floor, really dig in, learn the most basics, do the things others are not willing to do, really get your hands dirty, and therefore वो जब आ जाता है in mind में, then you become like your whole life becomes that I am going to be the most hardest working person in the room. Basically, वो आप बोल रहे हो, right? That's what you're trying to say. Cool. Now, one question that was actually just came to mind is that when you came, right, Tabi, you did not have a certification, but you started getting clients. You got some clients early on. Some people start training with you. You became a PT also, etc. Right? Well, like Acro, in any case, there were no concept of flow training much, right? So directly, one would be evaluated. Okay, start getting clients. Maybe you have a couple of levels at the most. Why? I mean, but what you did was you said, no, you know what? Whatever money I make, barring whatever minimal expenses I need to sort of have, I'm going to spend all my money on my education. What made you prioritize investing in yourself or maybe into more formal education back in those days? And what's the impact it's had on your career?
I think it was you. For me, the word investing in anything has come from you primarily. I know, and I'll be very open about it. I know you have been financially helped me couple of times, knowing when there was a need in the place. And you every day when I used to train you, you used to teach me a lot of things about investing, growing as a person financially, and that helped me a lot. Like, I could have done my certification or not done my certification at any point of time, but I feel investing in education is very important, and is why I started collecting this small amount of money every single month and kept it aside. And because of that education, today the smallest technical elements which I need to figure out into my coaching, and not just training people superficially by just saying, "Ki, let's do a bench press." I would get into the depth of a bench press and figure out what is the best way of the person doing the bench presses.
Right.
Education has helped me a lot, and it gave me something called reading on a daily basis. So when I coach, more than just saying what I need to say, I have become a very good listener because of that as well. It's a whole chain reaction that has happened for me. So it's not just I have become a certified and now I can go and apply for a job. In fact, after the certification, never ever applied for a job anywhere in the world. Acro was the only place where I have trained and learned.
Right.
And along with the theoretical knowledge of ACSM, I think the practical amount of knowledge that I have learned at Acro has together built me what I am today.
Wow, wow, wow. Thanks for that, man. So essentially, I think what you're trying to say is you learned the theoretical aspect from your education, which obviously gave you more technical knowledge about stuff you already knew how to do practically. But now you got both sides to understand what's the science behind doing a particular exercise in a particular manner, why the what is the requirement of doing certain sets, certain repetitions, certain range of movements, how does the physiology actually work, and you would already start putting into actual action with clients, with live people, with yourself in any case, so that really helped you to sort of marry the two and say, oh, now this is solid piece of knowledge, right?
And that was an everyday exercise for me. Like, I used to come back from the class, and the very next day, I'm getting to do a practical session.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. That's good. Good, good, good. Super. So now, obviously, you grew. We had those 4 good years, and then COVID sort of made us all this thing. And some points, what happens, obviously, it's called a black swan event, and things shut down and stuff like that. We actually shut the gym at that point. But many of us grew in various different ways, right? We were all in some sort of a cocoon in some way. You grew into a butterfly, went in one direction, got into this. Mustafa started something. Junaid went off to Hyderabad. Multiple things, right? Arun is doing something else. I went into online. I over indexed into technology and went more online. Took this full time after that. In a year, I actually quit my job and went full time into this. So, such was that thing. So, it probably was a great event in hindsight for all of us, right? At some point. So, how did you find your feet when such something like this happened? Like, what did you do? I know there were times where you were doing 12 hours of online trainings with our own clients initially, but until time we shut, and then you were trying to find, how did you actually find strength and resolve and the grit to continue doing, and how did you actually sort of how did your career sort of survive during that time?
That, I think, few days back itself, I got one of these memories, and I keep clicking, and I have just this with me right now. I don't know if people can see this 5 years ago when COVID happened. And like you said, that I keep resharing memories. This is something I every year screenshot and see. When COVID happened, I believe I got a call from you and Mustafa asking, do you want to continue with us or what? On a personal note, I was said from Mustafa saying, listen, I know that you can do this alone, right? That confidence, that amount of faith that he had in me, कि मेरे को मैं जानता हूँ कि तू ये अकेले कर लेगा, और मैं चाहता हूँ कि तू ना बोले. And this is after me saying no, not before me saying no. After I said no, I want to do it all by myself, he said, I wanted you to say no because I know you can do this alone. And then onwards, I started doing this, started coaching people on 200 rupees a session. Like, giving up was never in my blood. I still don't give up. Whatever happens, even in my own personal workouts, even in my own journey, even in my client's journey, giving up is something I can't live with. I may fail at doing something. I might train somebody and I might not get the result, is one story, but I will not give up on something. I will try, I will keep trying. वो चाहे वो 200 रुपए में भी क्यों ना हो, I would have done the sessions and I will still do hours of work, but I stayed back. My only goal was, if today I leave this city, I may never come back here. I may lose everything. Those 4 years of learning, investing into ACSM, being with you guys on floor, सब चला जाता मुझसे, and I would have just been somebody else in my life if I wouldn't have really stayed back in this town and tried to do every single thing that I could.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those days. I used to chat a lot, right? Just to make sure who's going along well, who's not doing so well. I think you start doing something on the app side, right? I think BleedFit, you're doing something on your app as well. And eventually, I think you found some success in certain things, right? So was that like a celebrity client that you got at that point, like one of the Bollywood actors, or what was your breakthrough, like to say, okay, the bad times have probably ended a little, and now okay, things are sort of looking up?
No, so me, after constantly doing what I was doing, app actually failed very badly because I had done no kind of a paperwork and everything. I just believed in those developers, and we launched the app, but the app started getting a lot of clones because I had no rights over the things that I had developed at that point of time. All the nutrition database and everything. So now I don't fear failure. By that time, I had failed a t-shirt business. I had failed an app business. I had failed multiple things in the past. By that time, I had reached in a point that now what is the worst that can happen with me? Maybe death, nothing else. के ऊपर everything was a win for me. But then I believe again, around 2020, I think I got a call from Mustafa asking again me, can I travel with Katrina to Russia? And till that time, I had no real clue of training a celebrity alone. I was always on the floor around some of the seniors. So I was being guided some of the times. So I said, yes, I will, because it was that point कि अगर इसके ऊपर नहीं गया तो बस यही life जीनी पड़ेगी. You will always just train people for some bucks, kind of a thing.
Right.
But more than money, it was me trying to do something better in my life, right? I never asked at that point of time also like how much will I get paid. I just said yes. I think couple of sessions I shadowed for her, and then I traveled with her. But again, due to COVID restrictions, within 10 days, I was sent back because Schengen visa didn't allow a lot of people to travel with the production crew. So you had to cut down on people. Again, I came back. But then, like, I think I assume there was a positive feedback from Katrina for me, and which is why I was given an opportunity to assist Vicky also at that point of time. So that's where my journey started to be with Vicky. Is I started assisting him for few sessions here and there when timings for two clients would collide.
Right.
Then if I would be with one client, and then I would go and train Vicky.
Which movie was this for Katrina? Or that was.
For Katrina, this was Tiger 3.
Oh, okay. Right.
There was a lot of action and everything. It was very essential for her to be active
Right.
at that point of time. And for Vicky, it was Zara Hatke Zara Bachke when
Yeah.
we started.
Right. But wasn't that like a comedy movie, or was that?
It was that I think he was still prepping for Ashwathama at that point of time, which never happened.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. Super. So since we're on the topic of Vicky Kaushal, let's just dive right into the whole Chhaava thing, right? Just tell us a little bit. Like, main thing is the mindset that you and your client need to have when there's so much resting on how that person looks, right? For that role, he needs to look big. He needs to look magnificent. I mean, it's he needs to like look like a warrior who's big, strong, who had the strength of a lion, right? I mean, that's Chhaava, right? So what goes on behind the scenes is what more than the actual diet, which is I think some 6,000 calories and all of those things. What goes on mentally? Like, how do you keep your resolve? How do you decide that I am going to be able to get this person to that goal, right? Versus his commitment to say, okay, I'll do whatever Tejas tells me. What goes behind your mind? Like, how do you say, I'm going to get this done by so and so date? There, you have to get it done.
Yeah, I think maybe I was a little having an external support. Let's say Chris was planning the whole dietary thing.
So, Chris Gethin.
Chris Gethin. So while I had my own knowledge of training and nutrition and everything, I think Chris was already taking care of his nutrition for a very long time. But when I was asked, I was only given 3 months of a time, saying within 3 months we have a body shot, and Chris is going to leave the country, and you have to take care of things here onwards. So I remember when we back at Acro did a 12-week transformation challenge with our own trainers and everything. I gathered all my previous papers and everything, because to write everything, whose nutrition is what at what point of time, I tried to gather back everything that I had learned at that point of time, see what I can implement with Vicky, because Vicky's body is very different. Plus, he had to do a lot of action sequences and everything. वो सब चीज मिलाकर on a daily basis, his nutrition plan would change now.
On a daily basis.
Daily
Like,
basis.
I know one thing, that he's got an ulta problem compared to most people, right? Like, he's like I can lose weight easily. I can't gain weight easily. But obviously, gaining weight is not as easy as putting on fat, right? He had to look big, not just become and get a pot belly. So that I remember. But what do you mean by like changing a diet daily? Like, what do you mean by that?
So certain days would be he has to wake up early, he's got our training sessions, then he's got action sequences to perform, and then he's got some rehearsals to perform. And so it's a long day with a lot of physical activities. So there is a lot of consumption of calories happening. Let's say consumption of energy is happening, expending a lot. And then there would be days when he's doing nothing but only training and then resting on certain days. And then certain days, it's not just rehearsals, but he's actually performing action. So there is 10 times more effort that he's going to go and do it. Plus, there are multiple angles of camera and everything. So, based on how much he is going to spend, is how we used to change his calorie consumption. So, there used to be always a 500 plus minus calories going up and down based on how much he's going to burn out.
Got it, got it. So you actually kept track of these activities might have this much calorie expenditure and therefore eat so much. And you had to plan this in advance. It's not like it's an afterthought, right?
Let's say, because there is a assumption, okay fine, a horse riding or let's say a sword fighting might burn him this much, but it's actually burning him a lot more, so we would some keep foods reserved for him. But let's say if we see him not burning as much, so we might reduce the food in the remaining few meals left for the day.
Insane,
So it
insane.
was a very real time thing happening then and there
Very,
itself.
very Tim Grover vibes I'm getting right now from you, wherein you went so deep into the person's routine requirements and what he needed to do, and therefore how are you fueling his nutrition slash workouts to make sure that he's achieving the physique in line with what he's doing, and also despite all the multiple things being thrown at you, right? Like what he did with Michael Jordan was, when he was training him, he was his coach for 15 years as a basketball player. And then Michael Jordan retired, and then he said, I want to start playing baseball. And he's like, dude, it's not the same sport, right? In basketball, it's a lot of knee movement. You're sort of bending down, you are suddenly shifting your weight from here to there, you're dribbling, you're suddenly turning around, and the mobility, strength, whatever muscles that have to be developed from one sport is
Mhm.
completely different from having to swing a bat and run, right? Very different. What you're doing is like that. Now, suppose tomorrow, a Vicky Kaushal or any other actor that you're going to train is going to become a sports person, a cricketer, or whatever, in your strength, you'll have to actually learn the sport to understand what are the muscles being used, what's the activity on an everyday basis, and then actually customize his plan, whether it's nutrition or workout, to that. Insane,
Correct.
insane. So, guys, so for the people listening, it doesn't, you just your basic calorie in out, your workouts, all those things are great, all right. But what you really need to do is understand that your clients, okay, are not coming to you just because you know how to plan a workout or this thing. At the end of the day, what Tejas has been able to do with his client and other clients is that he's got them to the result that they wanted, that they signed up with him in the first place, right? Actually, Tejas, so I tell people who come to us for our coaching, right, and I tell them, listen, nobody cares about your plan. Nobody's excited about your diet plan. Nobody wakes up in the morning and saying, I'm not going to eat cake at the birthday party. I'm not going to drink tonight because Tejas has given me a plan, or so, and some coach has given me. He is only willing to put himself through that process because he is selfish and invested in his own result,
Correct.
right? I do 22,000 steps a day right now, but my coach has given me that, saying, listen, I will get you to a result. I'm willing to do it. I'm sure Vicky Kaushal did what you're saying because he believed at some level. So, coaches, this is literally your job. They coming to you not because you're giving them 12 sessions in 12, 12 session plans, 3-month coaching, blah, 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 for a certain price. The value and the only thing they're looking for is to get to their destination. Or agar you are not able to sort of almost guarantee that, then I'm sorry, it's going to be a very tough task for you to sort of, it's going to be an uphill task for you to think. Perfect. So all this was all great, starry, perfect. We spoke about your celebrity thing. Let's talk about the difference between training them, okay? Is it different, firstly, or and versus training, say, everyday folks, right? Regular good clients who want to get fit. What's the difference, if there is one, and what changes do you do to be able to help them?
So if it's a personal training client, it's a no difference. I don't keep any difference because jitna effort mein I'm putting behind Vicky for his training, for his nutrition, for everything that I want to get it done, I will put that same amount of effort for any of my other clients. So there is no difference in that at all. There may be a slight amount of difference with my online clients is because there is no real time exchange of things. But I still put in the effort which I can put for my online clients, because it's not just key if Monday I have sent you a diet, I am going to straight away speak to you on the next Monday. Monday, I have given you a plan. You have to start sending me your meal pictures on the same day itself,
Right.
starting from the same day itself. You have to send me your workout videos to see if you're doing the exercises correctly. It's not just about the form and technique, but it's also the amount of intensity that you're going through in the set. So everything is still happening as much real time as possible for my online clients as well.
Nice.
That's just that marginal difference because I'm not present there, but I will still want to see them as much as possible. What is going into their plate? What are they training? How much weights are they lifting? And they have this task of filling in the Excel sheet of making sure how much weights, reps they have done. An Excel template is sent so that I know what has happened.
Right. Oh.
And even they enjoy that process after seeing the whole week's process ki, oh, this is what I have done. Because if it is not on the data, you'll never know what you have done. And this is, again, I have to give this to you because you have always been about data and
Yeah, yeah.
numbers.
If you track
So
it, you can improve it. That's about it. Yeah, yeah.
correct. Because after 2 weeks, I asked, like, what did you lift on the bench press 2 weeks back? Doesn't know. And you might eventually start lifting same or lesser number of weights. And then there is no progress. So just to know the progression, just to know the hurdles, this data helps me. So for me, there is no difference in a PT client and an online client. It's just this marginal real time difference that
Yeah,
I.
and also in online, it's a lot more knowledge work, right? You're not actually needing to give the person 12 hours for 12 sessions. You're telling them, listen, you could go, you might give them a 4-day plan a week, 6-day plan a week, whatever that's required for them. All your entire focus becomes, boss, what's he doing? Is he getting the result that he signed up with me for, rather than you having to go grunt with that, right? So that's great. Now, my next question really is that how do you get these clients? Do you actually start, like, when you started doing online, was it, did you follow any system? Did you start running ads, or did you do it all organically, saying, you know what, I've got this network of mine, people already know me for a certain thing, let me start finding people who need my services? That's how you started, especially in COVID, I remember. Or did you start saying, oh, you know what, aajkal bada chal raha hai, right? Oh, let me run marketing funnels ads and let me get leads. And how did you
Yeah.
do it, and what do you think is the upside or downside of doing?
Could be very different for everyone. I can share my personal way. I'm a core Marwadi at my heart. So spending a lot on ads becomes difficult for me. So I've never spent on paid ads so far. Like I've been suggested quite number of times, but I haven't done any paid ads so far. And I haven't put out too much of a results also on social media and everything. For me, majorly it has worked by word of mouth, majorly. And whenever I have put out some result of some client, I get a lot of leads out of it.
Right.
So I do understand this process that if I have worked on a client's result and if I put it out on social media with their due permission, I'll definitely get back a lot of leads from it. And one thing I've realized, how much ever a technical or a knowledge based posts I might put on my social media may or may not work, but if I'm putting out a result, if I'm putting out a before after picture, it works. It just goes out crazily, like this picture of me and Vicky Kaushal which has gone out. I am still tired, very happily tired, of responding to people who have been asking me about online coaching.
Right.
There have been 500, 600 DMs yet pending in my
Wow.
message request. And it is difficult because if I respond everyone today and they reply me back, I might not have the right conversation with each of them every single day.
Yeah, you wouldn't have the bandwidth to take so many people on, right? See, and what you said was right up there is what we teach people in our program. Like, we have this program called Elite, right? In that we tell people, honestly, people don't come, like, people want to see some hope that they can make it. Now, in your case, it's Vicky Kaushal. So it's obviously already a guy who's on a pedestal. He's a superstar, especially, and, like, he's got to be like big, right? But I'm talking even general folks, right? Whom people train, people want to just be try to imagine their future to be how this transformed person looks and say मुझे उस पेज पे एक बार मेरे कोच ने डालना है, right? A prime example is Team Aminder. I actually coach with them. I think they just splash there, and they're doing a transformation a week. It's mad because they're getting so many people. They sign 80 clients every month, 80 to 90 clients every single month, and online. They only do online, and they charge a fair amount. I won't say it's expensive. I think it's right. But whatever the thing is, what people don't care about is आप जितना भी नॉलेज ज्ञान दो, जितना भी आप एक्सरसाइज के बारे में बात करो, न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में बात करो, जब तक आप अपने काम के बारे में यू शो नहीं करते हो, इट डजेंट मैटर. इट्स लाइक, और सम पीपल विल इवन इन दैट बायो टॉक अबाउट देयर 20 certifications that they have.
Yeah.
I give this example. I'm like, you know what? I want to go buy a BMW. And if I go to the BMW website or BMW Instagram, and if they're talking about the CEO's PhD from Harvard, do I even care? Boss, मुझे BMW देखना है. How will I feel in the BMW is what I care about. Will I feel like I've arrived? Am I feeling like some status update, upgrade? But what do our coaches do? They will start grinding. They'll show their own lifting. They will only showcase their own things. They don't talk about their clients because for some reason, I don't know why, they say, oh, client is not you. It's the job you've done for them. If you've done a good job, you have every right to showcase it, and that's your starting point to say, listen, I'm going to make you the poster boy or poster girl, saying I'm going to help you that much. Which client will say no if you can make them feel great about themselves, generally speaking?
100%.
And कुछ लोग होते हैं जिसमें hide the face or blur the face or whatever. But that's what the biggest this thing. And you guys now heard it from Tejas himself, right? So this is something. I mean, thank you so much for saying that. Perfect.
Just, but that doesn't mean the coach shouldn't have knowledge. Definitely should have the knowledge of it. But it's not just posting out knowledgeable stuff, because now at least now it's very easy. Okay, I can just go on a chat GPT and say, okay, I want to make a carousel about some vitamin B. Just give me a 10 post carousel, and you put it. You may put it. You might get some amount of reach, but I'm telling you, you may not get the success of being a coach or a successful coach.
Yep, absolutely. So I think technical knowledge and actually spreading education is, I would say, a good noble thing anyway. But nobody signs up with a coach because they know technical knowledge. They sign up because they think that that coach is a good coach and probably an obvious coach to help me with my needs, right? That's really this thing. Super. What about marketing for generally for coach? Now everybody cannot train Bollywood से. सबका मतलब access नहीं होता है. You don't have the right environment.
Think initially we never had things to do in terms of marketing. It was only Instagram. I posted out only clients result and I got it back from them. But as this industry is increasing, is spreading, I remember you have also reached me at one point about this fitness directory that Alpha Coach has.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the best places the new coaches can have themselves positioned, where they can actually reach to more and many people, because Instagram is having a little bit of saturation at some point, I feel. But I've seen your fitness directory is just for fitness coaches.
Yeah.
So I think that one great way of positioning and marketing coaches themselves for the work and the amount of work that they do. That is one of the great places. Secondly, like you said about Aminder, I believe if you open his page and see, it's just results. It is just results. So you apply all your knowledge, you apply everything. लो जो चाहे इंस्टाग्राम पे मत करो उसको, आप आपके क्लाइंट के साथ में उसको अकेले में रिजल्ट्स लाके दो एंड देन पुट इट आउट. आई थिंक दैट इज द बेस्ट मार्केटिंग. Today, if I go out to buy something, my first attraction to buy still till date is how that product looks outside in terms of the packaging. I make care of the quality in the second go,
Correct.
but not in the first go. That's the still the reference here is results will actually get you more clients, and then the process that you follow behind that will get you even more clients.
Yeah. No, it's good you mentioned that. So, in fact, when we first spoke, I think this was end of 2023, we were conceptualizing the whole directory and saying, what should we do so that we can get these people to meet each other, right? Everybody in the fitness industry is in a very disjointed manner, right? And we're only paying Instagram, Meta, whatever you call it, or Google to just do this. Who we're thinking of is like, you know what? People have an app, we want education, clients want coaches, through coaches, because not everybody can become a brand ambassador directly on his own. This thing, they're not an influencer and whatnot, right? But brands also need, sometimes you're launching a fresh new product, you want 10,000 people to test it, 1,000 people to test it. Kaise karoge? Right? We've tied up with all the top academies from Classic Fitness, K11, Prehab, BFL, Exercise Science. We've had some interaction. So idea is how do you get all of these people, and we realize that coaches are at the center of this. सबको कहीं ना कहीं कोच की जरूरत होती है, बिकॉज एक वे प्रोटीन भी खाना, अपने कोच को पूछो सर कौन सा खाऊं, वो जो ब्रांड बोलेगा, जनरल मतलब द एवरेज ट्रेनर client doesn't know which brand to this thing. Although now there's a lot more knowledge, I would say, in the last 2-3 years, with cleaner brands are coming and stuff like that. But essentially, people just need them. They need a coach to train. They need a coach to tell them diet. They need a coach to tell them which product to buy, and stuff like that. And all other people also want to either hire, upskill, sell to, etc. It just becomes a great thing. So we said, okay, let's build that. And that fitness directory now has, by the way, 6,000 plus coaches. We've Aadhaar verified over 600 plus coaches out of these 6,000. We're
That's
getting to
great.
another level of verification eventually, wherein we also do police verification. So we say now this is the safest place to find a coach. You need this actual
Correct.
person, verified, no stress, qualified, everything done. So it's becoming like I would say, hopefully a gold standard to find the right fitness coach for yourself.
Yeah. So this is actually true. This so, and I think this would be the one of its kind place for people to come and do this. I think I should again thank you for doing this, because it's actually going to be a great one. Nobody has done this.
This is actually, it's, I would say, I mean, in the other fields, like a practo.com has done this for
Yeah,
doctors. So we've
correct.
done this for our fitness and saying, boss, एक platform जो free. We want you to just come. Coaches, like imagine a person in 30 seconds can find a good coach around them, which would never be possible. And a coach who doesn't know ki, suppose there's a new mother who's a coach. Now she can train people sitting at home because somebody discovered her and she got business to that. So we try to solve for, I would say, the smaller purpose. Our smaller purposes are to make sure these small individual personas can find each other, rather than saying हम industry बदलेंगे, because there are small needs. People want to find a coach. A coach needs more business. How can we be that one catalyst in between कि हम bridge बना के आप लोगों को connect? That's what we're trying.
I think that's the biggest purpose.
Yeah.
It's not a small purpose at all.
Now, I think that first, a functional purpose is what we want to create. After that, life changing, industry broken, industry revived, all of those things are big words, which we think at some point, hopefully, we'll have the authority, say, we'll grow into that and become that, hopefully. But, anyways, excellent. So, what else, right? A lot of people see you as an external person, but don't know about you that goes on through your mind. How do you prepare to train clients? What's your day to day routine like? Especially because you're training a lot of high profile clients, right? So I would say that if you have these kind of high stakes, high profile clients, you would hopefully be able to have the best SOPs in your day to day. What's your day looking like?
So my day is pretty simple. It's never planned, because when we train with a high profile client, it comes with, because they have a lot of things to do in their own day. So my I will never have a fixed time to train a client. We might have a tentative slot saying, okay, let's say train at 1 p.m., but it might touch to 1:30 or 2 p.m. as well, knowing that they have to also finish a lot of their pre-commitments and then continue doing that. So when it comes to training high profile clients, keeping times flexible is one of the most important aspects, which is why I don't prefer to, and I also don't train a lot of people in a day. A maximum of 3 people in a day is what I will train, and that helps me to deliver the best amount of results that I can deliver. So I have left that mentality of mine where I would want to just train a client for an hour and then just keep jumping from a gym to another gym, or just train all my clients in one gym, saying I train 12 clients a day. I think during the internships we were having at Acro, all the interns were sitting, and this was a question by you asked to all the interns, including me. I wasn't an intern, but still asked me a question, so that, and the question was, where do you look yourself in 5 years?
Right.
I remember my answer to that was that I see myself training only one person in a day. That was my answer. I believe 4 years are done. I'm at 3 clients right now.
Not bad.
But why I said one client a day is because I would train that one client a day as per the timings and flexibility. But still, the other hours go into online coaching stuff. So I'm still, apart from the 3 clients that I train, whatever time I get, I am following up with my online clients. I'm asking them how their days are going, sharing their meal pictures, looking at their workout videos, giving them real time feedbacks about form and technique. And then my own workout is what I place whenever and wherever I get time with. So this is how my day looks like. It's very unstructured, but
Right.
that's the best structure I am into right now, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
And you're making do with what you can, right? But in your case, I think what you're trying to do is, and training is like an everyday thing for you. Like you want to make sure you get your activity in, right?
5 days a week.
5 days.
This has been my routine for the last 5 to 6 years. 5 days a week.
Right, right. So that's what I'm saying. So you have that system saying, I'll get it done no matter what. Time may vary. Even your days might vary. Sometimes if you don't do a Wednesday, you might catch up on a Saturday, as an example. But you will get the work done.
100%.
Cool. What else do you think are what coaches sort of like? What do you think, like, and just say, put your head and say, "Arey yaar, ye bache log, why aren't they?" Like, what would you cite as their biggest mistakes these days?
Many. I am very judgmental when I work out in the gyms. Very judgmental. And I believe every human deep down inside, we judge. And I don't see anything bad in judging.
Yeah, yeah,
I want to something, I will judge this is good or this is bad for me. I've judged it.
right.
The same way I will go to gyms, and I enjoy going to different gyms. And I really want to see good coaches, go to them and approach, asking them, listen, can we work together? But it is difficult for me because I remember a few days back I've posted a video of me doing a bench press. Now it's a 120 kg bench, and I'm just asking for a lift off from a coach. He's lifted off the bar and he's walked away.
Okay.
Like, if you are a coach, you would stand
Yeah,
there,
like,
you would get the set done, or you might push him to do two more repetitions. This is why clients come into the gym. They would really, the biggest asset in a gym, the biggest equipment in a gym is a coach. Starting from the way they groom themselves, the way they train themselves, the way they take care of themselves, standing posture से लेके बात करने के तरीके तक is how deep I will judge. And I feel 99% of the coaches still are not there. I won't even call them coaches, I'll still call them trainers. And it is sad for me to call this for the people from my own industry, where I want them to grow, I want them to develop. But I guess it's the mindset issue where they are very happy and comfortable with कि 1 तारीख को सैलरी आ रहा है, मेरा महीने का खर्चा निकल रहा है, I'm very happy with it.
yeah,
There is the mindset that they don't want to step up. Like, they would come up to me and ask me a question saying, sir, you have trained XYZ actor and everything, how can I also become a celebrity coach? The question is so wrong. Question should be, sir, how can I become a good coach? How can I become the best coach? Should be the question. Because in Mumbai, everyone is a celebrity coach. You have trained a person who does modeling, you have trained a person who's a TV actor, you are a celebrity
anybody who's
coach.
ever appeared on a page three becomes a celebrity as well.
So that's a very easy tag to say, which is why I don't like that tag saying, oh, Tejas Lalwani, a celebrity coach. I'm still a fitness coach because I'm training for fitness. I'm not just doing celebrities. So I think there is a lot of lack of grooming, a lot of etiquettes on the floor etiquettes. नॉलेज इज एंडलेस. नॉलेज का कोई एंड ही नहीं, तो आप तो सीखते जाओ, और जितना सीख सकते हो, ट्रेनिंग, न्यूट्रिशन, एवरीथिंग, यू जस्ट कीप लर्निंग. But this is so simple. Wear a t-shirt which is nicely washed and ironed on the floor. It's very simple. Speak decently. Don't speak arrogantly, because coaches hold a lot of ego. The trainers, if you'll see, the first look that they have in their eyes is, oh, this guy is going to show me how to train. You can't have that look in your face. Just be simple. Be nice on floor. कुछ नहीं जाता है. I'm telling you, if you are nice on floor, you will get two more clients only. Nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
But to be arrogant and rude on floor, I am sure you are not getting more clients. And I believe the internship we did long back at Acro was one prime example. All the interns today, whoever has been with us, I won't shy from saying the number, nobody earns less than 1.5 lakh. Nothing less than
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Look how. If you don't know about boxing, do not speak about boxing. उनसे कि मैं आपके 12 सेशन में एक एडिशनल सेशन आपको बॉक्सिंग का करवा दूंगा.
My God,
That's
people
not
actually
adding.
do that.
I have sold you 12 sessions and the person would say, sir, लेकिन कुछ डिस्काउंट. Saying, अच्छा चलो ठीक है, मैं एक एक दो बॉक्सिंग के सेशंस ऐड कर देता हूँ आपके इसमें.
And then they'll hold that small pad and expect you to do boxing, and I've seen people do that at the gym and all, but I didn't know that this was like a freebie given by a coach who
It's a
doesn't know how to do it. Perfect. Perfect. So let's move on, like literally towards the end. Let me ask you, I mean, you already spoke about an advice for new coaches, right? But let me ask you, other than fitness, like grooming, one thing, 100% agree, right? People need to look the part. But generally speaking, what would be, other than their own fitness, which you spoke about, what would be the one non fitness skill that every coach should develop in these times, if they were to not just rely on their gym job, but also start finding clients for themselves, what would they need to invest themselves into or invest into?
Think reading and communication.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So let's say if I'm not with a gym or anything, but if I know how to talk, if I know how to place myself, if I really know how to sell myself and my knowledge, then I can really create a business. I may have a lot of knowledge, but I'm not able to tell you how.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then I'll not get clients. And I believe that's one of the best skills I have been learning and still learning ahead of this. Communication and it comes more from reading actually. It's reading and communication. Just learn these two things, and I am telling you, this will be a game changing thing. You may be in any practice of a business, coaching, or any other business. Reading and communication is something which helps a lot. I'll read whenever I get time. Read maybe on a phone, read maybe a book, or read a new my newspaper still comes to my home.
Yeah.
Even in today's world, still have a
Yep.
newspaper to my home. Watch at least two articles, read them. You don't understand, Google about them. You don't understand, translate it into Hindi, get back to it and read it again. You might find more meaning of the same article.
Wow.
And then communicate to people. You speak to people like me and Mohak when we are still on the floor. Even to this date, we speak about an exercise, we still communicate about a client's case study, and we are talking to each other in not just the most friendliest manner, but the most professional way I can speak to him to give him an advice. So this helps.
So I think what it really saying is that you need to start learning how to put yourself out there and becoming visible to the right audience. Now you could do that through reading and understanding how to do, and what you spoke about, reading, communication, is learning and implementation, basically imbibing and then putting it out there. But what really is that they need to do is, I would say, marketing and sales, right? How do you communicate what you do to the audience who may need help from you, and you become the most, I would say, not the best coach, the most the perfect coach, but really I would say the obvious coach for a particular client, right? It's like an eye doctor cannot be talking about heart problems. He has to talk about eye problem. Within eye doctor, there could be a surgeon. Surgeon could be a cataract, could be a LASIK eye surgeon. They're not going to talk about the same thing. I can't take my grandmother to LASIK eye surgeon and say, boss, ठीक करा दो. He'll be like, भाई मैं cosmetic करता हूँ. Number ठीक कराना है तो बताओ. So it's very different. So what you choose, what you're good at, what are the things you actually try to talk about those things, and then when your audience actually finds that, oh, this guy means business, he actually knows his shit, then you talk to them. Obviously, they become that. Become more aligned to saying, I want to train because, oh, now I've seen a social media, everything's about the results, which we spoke about earlier, right? And suddenly it becomes like, oh, okay, you know what? This sounds like the right guy for me. Let me sign up. Perfect, perfect, super. I think we've discussed everything. So what's next? Now you've done so much, right? 8 years in the industry, you worked literally your butt off. You've seen the learning, you've seen the absolute crash in 2020, ground there, rose up again. Now you're successful. Touch wood, everything goes well. Everything's like you're seeing all the good things. What's next for Tejas? Like what's like anything exciting coming up in the next few months that we should be all excited about? Some big surprise.
It's no surprise as such. I think feel this the Paps have spoiled this a lot for us because the world already knows what the actor is working on currently and the next project. So those projects are already out, but I'm very excited right now for this project. I have trained Rohit Saraf for,
Okay.
because so far you have seen Vicky in a physique, you have seen Sunny also putting out his pictures.
Right.
Rohit is the next door boy, and people have always seen him in this very cute chocolate hero tags that people put
Right.
up. This is the first time he's getting into training, and for 1 year, we have just done one same thing every single day. He khana khaya hai. Food must have gone up and down based on how he performs. But training hasn't changed. Still those same 5 days, still the same workout. There is no change at all in his workout. We haven't said, okay, fine, let's make it a little fancy by adding something, or let's try. There is no try right now. एक हमने किया वो ट्राई, उसके बाद में अब तक it's the same thing. We know this has worked for you. Let's stick to it. There is no need to change it unless you pick this up.
Right.
Waited for Rohit's pictures and his trailer and everything to come out, because you'll be shocked to see him the way that guy has transformed. By far. But I hope I'm not speaking like बहुत ज़्यादा, but this is one of the best physique that you will see in the industry.
Cool. How cool. Nice, nice, nice. I mean, this is what you taught me also, right? Pouring things done over a long period of time to give the results. I mean, it's like saying यार 10th pass करना है, CA खत्म करना है, IIT, IAS बनना है. You don't do any hacks. You sit down and study. And here you need to do the same things, right? I mean, people want like, yeah, and this is what we used to discuss in acro. कि क्या बैठ के exciting workout बनाना है हर 4 हफ्ते में, variety चाहिए.
Yeah, I very keep posting about this, the same old 4 sets, 4 variations, 12 reps. I still do the same thing. But
It works.
what I enjoy when I record those exercises now is how smoothly my movements happen, even with the heaviest weights
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
It's taken me time to reach here. So it's boring, but the results are not boring. You'll enjoy the
yeah.
process.
Super. I think this was wonderful. Thank you so much, Tejas. Is there any parting thoughts, anything that you'd like to say to new coaches, to potential clients, to the universe?
To all the coaches who are listening to this, please, certification is definitely important. ठीक है, I have been one of those cases. I was not certified, but I later got certified because I know the importance of it. But don't stop at certification. You have done the certification. What next? Learn how to groom yourself, learn how to speak, learn how to position yourself. Teach what you know, don't teach what you don't know. And if you don't know about it, learn about it, and maybe then you can do it later on. Life is always going to be with struggles. You may lose some clients, you may get some clients, you may earn more, you may earn less. Don't stop. The only way you might lose everything is by stopping. If you constantly keep doing something, kuch na kuch aata rahega, chalta rahega. There is a great plan written for you. You have to execute the plan written for you. You can't just say, oh, the plan is written, I just need everything in my bank account. Nahi aayega.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, when I went out and booked my car, I literally had nothing for even the down payment of my car. But I kept working for it, and I've never felt a regret about my decisions. Only because I don't give up, is what I said before also. Ki हारना तो नहीं है यहाँ से. So you keep doing your things. Don't expect. Work. You will get it. If you will work with an expectation saying, I am training an XYZ client, I have to get this. You work, you will get it.
yeah, yeah.
You work, you get it. There's no worry that you need to do. And to the universe also, thank you for always giving me the strength, for always giving me what I have learned in my life from everyone that I have been with, everyone that I have worked with, I have been with, I have trained. I always take back with me something. Even though I am a coach, my job is to coach, but I take back a lot from my clients as well when I get out of a session. Still, till date.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think you summarized it beautifully, right? So you can lose as many battles, but the minute you stop fighting, you face defeat, which is the ultimate, right? That's when you completely. And whether it's a fitness coach, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your any career or a startup like I run, the only thing that they say is that the greatest skill for anyone is that he just said, let me try one more time. And that's the difference between a person who shut down or stopped doing what they were doing or shut down a business versus eventually seeing progress, right? So what I really say tell people is, and why we probably also, you remember back in the day you said that you were not certified. I think they just invested into Tejas, and it just showed that bande mein grit hai. Grit is, to me, is the greatest quality a person can ever have. That means, like you said, I'm going to sit, I'm going to work hard for it.
Yeah.
It may be written, but it's not going to fall into your lap, right? It's not like money on a tree. You can't just shake it. You have to work hard. You need to climb. You need to actually do it and execute. Super, 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 super. Thank you so much, Tejas. It was a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the thing, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.
See you.